Is your special needs child not sleeping through the night? Well, that probably means you're not sleeping either, and that can cause chaos throughout the whole household. Well, stay tuned. We've got the top solutions other families just like you are using and have success with. Hey everyone, this is Joanne Sullivan from This Uncommon Journey, and I am a special needs parent just like you. That's my son, Joe. And I've got so much love in my heart for this guy, but I got to tell you, special needs parenting has been one of the greatest challenges of my life. We're not like typical parents, and unfortunately, we're a bit marginalized because we don't have access to the same information. Forms are longer. Everything takes more time. Everything's a lot more complicated. So that's why we created This Uncommon Journey. It's really your solution site for options, resources, data, so that you can make the very best decisions for your child and be more confident as a special needs parent. So sit back. Today it's all about mitigating these really big sleep problems. We've got a lot of information, a lot of jam-packed information, and hopefully one of these solutions are going to get your child sleeping through the night. Here we go. So let's get started. Hey guys, so what we put together here is some of the top solutions that other special needs families are using and are having success with on this whole challenge of your child not sleeping. And as I mentioned in the intro, if your child's not sleeping, you're not sleeping, and it just disrupts the household, everyone's week. And really what I found out too is when Joe was having issues years ago, the neurologist ended up telling me that if Joe's not sleeping, if your child is not sleeping, it's really impacting them from a developmental standpoint too. The importance of getting on a regular sleep schedule and having extended periods of sleep is so key in the health, the well-being, and the development of our kids. So we've spent the past countless hours putting together these top solutions that other families are using and that they're having success with. So we've looked at message boards, we've looked at group pages, we've done a lot of research. So this is what I want to share with you today. And we've really structured it out with a section on supportive options, and which is probably the first good place to start. Then we move into over-the-counter options and also pharmaceutical options. So for those two tiers, really at that point you want to be talking with your physician to see what makes most sense and just ensure that the medical piece and is really being evaluated from your child's primary care physician point of view or a neurologist point of view. Obviously we're not medical doctors here, but these are what other families are using, and that's what's worked for them. So let's dig in. So we talk about this all the time, right? The special needs journey is already pretty challenging for us, and if your child isn't sleeping, it can really negatively affect their health, their development, and the disruption on the sleep is really just taking a major toll on everyone else in the household. So I don't know how people, you can't just function with this on a regular basis. Not having good sleep for yourself, and if you're working full time or if you have other kids, it really causes a lot of chaos in the household. So we need to come up with some good support, some good solutions to make this work. So let's dig in first from the idea of why possibly they're not sleeping. So I always like to look at a baseline to get a good idea of why is this actually happening. So some of the behavioral things that you might be considering is that your child might be having night terrors, and at certain ages that can become a little bit more common. Another thing to explore is if your child is now beginning to experience some major or extreme anxiety, or if there's been a level of separation anxiety. Maybe something has gone on in the household, if there's been someone who's gotten sick, or a medical crisis, or a death of a loved one, or a pet, or something like that, that can really cause some anxiety within our kids, and this can then manifest itself with sleep issues as well. So on the medical side, and this is something that you can begin exploring with your primary care, your child's primary care, or the neurologist or whatever doctor that you're working with to help really start digging into some of this. So there's certain sleep issues that doctors have seen and have known that are more common with different diagnoses. So autism spectrum disorder and also PANS as well. This is a little bit more common with those diagnoses. If your child might be having some breathing issues with regard to sleep apnea, that could be an impact as well. Think about things like asthma. Again, if they're laying down flat and there's just that level of that sense of not being able to breathe well or be breathing correctly, that's going to impact them. It's going to trigger a response, a wake-up response. Other things to consider is the possibility of low blood sugar. If your child has a quick metabolism and they are having dips in their blood sugar in the middle of the night, it could cause them to wake up as well. And then also other things that could be considered and tested for is low iron. And then another option that families find as well is this idea of some toileting issues. If either your child is constipated or if they're having to get up regularly overnight to use the bathroom. Okay guys, so let's get this going. So this is our first tier of really supportive options for families. These are the top options that other families have used and have been successful with in helping get their special needs child calm and sleep oriented. So one of the first ones, and this is probably one of the top ones that have been mentioned a lot on message boards and in different group pages, is this idea of the weighted blanket. And basically it works by giving additional pressure on the body, and it helps slow the breathing rate, and it provides kind of a calm, secure feeling for your child. And because it's helping slow that breathing rate, it really gives more of a meditative, calming state to help your child sleep. It is also thought to produce additional serotonin in the body, which is a chemical that's a mood stabilizer, and it helps coordinate and really manage sleep, and it's like a feel-good chemical throughout the body. So the extra bonus on weighted blankets as well is that that's additional pressure. These weighted blankets have also helped to alleviate anxiety for children, so, and adults as well. Adults and children both use them. So weighted blanket is one of the top ones that families have tried and have had success with, and they're not that expensive. You can find these at Walmart, Amazon. Everybody seems to carry these. So another option that families have talked about, especially if there's a lot of activity, if your child has this sense of hyperactivity overnight, is safety beds. And what that is an enclosure over the bed that you can really, it's all netted and you can zip your child in, and it not only prevents them from leaving overnight and kind of having these nocturnal activities and visits and runarounds overnight, but that smaller sleeping space really helps children feel almost like a cocoon. So it's a little bit more focused, it's a little bit more comfortable, and it soothes your child. And families have said that it helps with the sleeping process for their kids. Another one along this same lines is the idea of a body pillow, and that also provides comfort and support. There's ones that have different presentations, like, in the shape of a dog or the shape of a kind animal, or comforting animal or something. But the other bonus on some of these is some of them also have built-in vibration, which could be soothing for your child, and also have temperature regulation, so it might be a little bit more cooling as well. So something else that has helped is white noise machines. You've probably heard of these. It's basically will play sound music, calming sound music like of the ocean or of the wind, and it blocks also out other disturbing noise. So if your child can be very hypersensitive overnight to different noises in the household, having this can really block that kind of noise out and help them focus on the calming sound that's being emitted from the machine. The other thing that is talked about is that when the machine gets put on, it's almost a mechanism, a reminder. It's like almost a reverse alarm clock, right? it once it's turned on, it's gearing the brain, it's gearing your child as part of a routine where they know now it's sleep time and it's time to start calming down. So on all of these, I'm going to be sharing this presentation. It's going to be linked below, so for sure you can click on these links and you can get a little bit more information on some of the background information on this. Something that's a little bit more of an undertaking, a little bit more of a commitment, is a therapy dog. So families have mentioned that the presence of kind of a friend, a therapy dog for their child really helped, and it's not only the weight comfort, but it's helped reduce the anxiety for their child, which has really brought a sense of calming and peace, which helped with the sleep process. It also helps children feel safe, and because they're thinking about and caring about this other, cute animal who's really, there's a level of devotion then that begins, is that the worries or anxiety that your child might be feeling that might be implicating and causing sleep issues, it ends up going away, or it ends up getting alleviated, because now your child is thinking about the care and the comfort of the pet, right? It takes the worries and the focus off themselves. So big one, and this and peace, which helped with the sleep process. It also helps children feel safe, and because they're thinking about and caring about this other, cute animal who's really, there's a level of devotion then that begins, is that the worries or anxiety that your child might be feeling that might be implicating and causing sleep issues, it ends up going away, or it ends up getting alleviated, because now your child is thinking about the care and the comfort of the pet, right? It takes the worries and the focus off themselves. So big one, and this costs no amount of money at all, is the establishment of a nighttime routine, and how important that is. So it's really consistently, time-wise and activity-wise, doing the same things every night, because it's gearing your child from a schedule standpoint and a routine standpoint, knowing what the next steps are, and then that final step would be sleep, right? So it's doing the same things in order every night. For example, it's going to be dinner and bath, and then books, songs, prayer, and now it's time for sleep. So it's really slowly pushing them towards that calming sets point where it's now sleep time. So, and consistency and calmness is the key, right? You can have these routines all in place, but if there's other levels of activity and chaos going on in the household, either with other children or pets or other family dynamics, it's not going to support this process at all. So that idea of really presenting a good environment for your child to make sure that everything is calm and quiet. I love essential oils. I'm a big believer in essential oils. I'm going to talk some more about them in other YouTube videos for support for special needs parents and how they can help you. But lavender has been known as a calming, supportive oil to help induce sleep. So you can put a few drops in a warm bath. You can get a diffuser. I have actually my diffuser right here, and I will put other oils in as well. I love my diffuser. But you can put lavender in the diffuser and in your child's room, and that will help promote some sleep. And also consider you can use it within a carrier oil, like put some coconut oil in your hand, put a few drops, and you can give your child a light massage, and that'll help. That might help the sleep process as well. And then there's also, I know they have those wraps for people that have neck problems. They're weighted a little bit as well. You put them in the microwave, they warm up, and they're lavender infused, and that also gives some additional assistance with regard to calming things down. And the essential oil really triggers a lot of calmness and helps with sleep for the brain. So the next one, speaking of massages, is the possibility of giving your child a light massage, before bedtime. And I know this was amazing. We were able, at a different point in time, I had a massage therapist for Joe, and it was through when we had his self-direction program through the state before he ended up
moving to his group home, where every other week Joe had a half-hour massage with a trained massage therapist in the house. Joe loved it. He absolutely loved it. But the massage, and for anyone that has had one, it really helps reduce anxiety, helps reduce any kind of pain or discomfort or tension. So if your child is nonverbal and possibly has some discomfort and you're not as aware of it, something like a massage might help. And the whole activity of a child or anyone receiving a massage is that the parasympathetic system, which is really responsible for all the body's rest response, gets activated during a massage session. So it really allows the body to just slow down, to calm down, and to relax, and that can help induce sleep. Obviously, another one is really a higher level of daytime activity for your child, and maybe cutting out naps during the course of the day for your child. So with that means mom, dad, siblings, everyone's a little bit busier during the course of the day. I do understand that. But if it can help, then tire them out enough to the point where there's a level of exhaustion at the end of the day, that's going to be a win. And something else to consider, because even if you feel as though you're pretty active as a family or for your child, that sometimes mixing up that type of activity might be helpful as well. Introducing something new. Something like swimming. Other families also talked about swing time. So having one of those supported swings in the household where it's just very calming, very relaxing, that was a big one that was mentioned as well. And finally, for one of these our supportive section is this idea of really the bedroom environment. So you want it calmer, you want the lighting to be well, and also consider things like temperature. So a humidifier or a cooler temperature in the room, that can all really help and support this as well. So we just went through a number of smart, pretty inexpensive, supportive options that you can try as a first go. But if you're still having some issues and your child is still not sleeping, the next go around, this tier 2, is all about over-the-counter and also natural supplements that your child can consider. Again, full disclaimer, we're not medical professionals here, but this is a number of the options that families recommended that have helped and really alleviated the sleep issues for your child. So what I do recommend is we're providing the information to you. You want to take this back to your child's primary care physician or neurologist or pulmonologist or who's ever helping your child with this sleep issue. So again, research more, explore more, talk to the physician, talk to family, talk to friends, and here are some options that you might want to consider. So big one that's always mentioned, you probably already know about this, is melatonin. So it's really a natural hormone that's already present in everyone's body. So the whole purpose of this chemical messenger is about regulating sleep to begin with, right? So if your child's levels are low on melatonin, they might need some additional support in the form of an outside supplement to help support it. High on the list for so many families because it's really an easy try. Again, you want to follow up with your doctor, your child's doctor first. But gummies are probably the top selection that most families end up using because it's really easy to ingest for children. They're sometimes fun. You can go on Amazon. They have a lot of different options for them, and they come in different flavors and different shapes and sizes for children as well. So it's really an easy take as well. One of the things that a number of parents did talk about is that you want to watch out for a longer term use, right? You get the buildup, and then your child can get a little bit more resistant to it. So one of the things that have helped that for families is this idea of rotating either different brands and or different delivery systems. So if your child has been on gummies, maybe you want to try a liquid form or maybe a possibly extended release. I'm going to tell you, this was the game changer for my Joe. So we had years of issues with Joe not sleeping, and I just kind of felt like, well, this is our life, this is the norm. And like I said, when I finally went and talked to the doctors about it and the neurologist, I had a real kind of come to Jesus moment. He basically said, this is not healthy, not only for you, you need your sleep, you're not sleeping, but from Joe's perspective, developmentally, it was really impacting him. And that's when I really started on, this has to change, right? So not only were we having kind of chaos in the household because of it, but that was really the trigger for me, that if this is going to further impact his development, I needed to start making some changes. I will tell you, we did end up getting a sleep study and nothing came out of it, but that was a little bit much for Joe to manage as well. With all of this, though, the first introduction of this that we tried with the melatonin, it wasn't right away, but it really began to turn the corner for him. And now he's an amazing sleeper. So he still takes it to this day. He's still fine on just chewable tablets, and he gets it every single night, and it's been works beautifully for him. So, but again, consult your physician. But this is one of the top recommendations, and it's really high on most families' lists, so as a try. So another supplement that you might want to consider is ashwagandha. So this is a supplement, it's a root supplement, and you can buy it in health food stores, you can get it on Amazon. I actually take this for myself, and I'm going to be talking about this in another video because it really helps calm the brain. It's a good focus supplement. It helps reduce anxiety, and it helps you fall asleep, and it helps you stay asleep. I take my own every day, and it's just an overall healthy, good supplement for well-being, and it really helps, families have found, with the sleep as well. Another consideration that families have talked about is magnesium. If a child is low in magnesium, they might be exhibiting sleep issues, so introducing that has helped a number of families, and it helps regulate all those neurotransmitters that are directly related to sleep. It's kind of like this catch-all supplement that really works with the serotonin and the dopamine and all those good chemicals. So it is beneficial to the nervous system, and it helps quiet and calm. But one of the watch outs sometimes is it can be a little upsetting to the stomach. So again, you want to monitor that. You want to talk to your child's physician about introducing it as well. Another big one, and this you probably have read about this yourself, is CBD has been a very common one, and now I think it's becoming even more popular. So the one, and Joe is actually on a CBD as well, but he takes that more for mood kind of management and anxiety management. And I've had long discussions with his neurologist about this because Joe had exhibited really aggressive behavior at different points. So I'm going to be doing another video about that, so you want to keep an eye out for that, because I have some really good information to share with you. If your child and your family within the family, there's a lot of aggressive behavior, and if it's upsetting the household. But one of the things that Joe is on for that is the CBD, and I had big conversations with his neurologist about this. Is you want to make sure that THC, the marijuana or the pot impact of all of that is not included, or because that can have an opposite effect. It can cause either further aggression, and sometimes it could have an opposite effect, basically, on your child's behavior and also sleep. But the CBD unto itself really helps regulate emotions, and it helps promote better sleep. As I mentioned, it improves also rage and moods and self-injury, and it's really helped Joe. So that's a good catch-all one as well, and a number of families are using it and finding good success with it. I think prior to the CBD and really the introduction of the melatonin, Benadryl was a big one that was mentioned among families, and it does cause drowsiness. But again, watch out, because in some cases it might have the opposite effect on kids. And I know you can just simply buy this over the counter, but this is really one of those ones that you might want to have a conversation with your child's physician about, in terms of when and dosing and things like that, like when to introduce. So you can find more information on a lot of these solutions at the National Center for Biotech Information, and again, I'll have a number of these links below so that you can look at side effects and other additional information for you. Okay, so we've really covered a lot so far. On our first section, we talked a lot about pretty simple, supportive options that families can use. Next year, we talked about was a lot of the over-the-counter and supplements that families are finding success with. In those cases where you've really exhausted a lot of possibilities, exhausted a lot of those options, families have turned to prescription medicine. So again, my full disclaimer, we're not medical professionals, and when I was reviewing some of this on message boards, I was reading what families were putting, and one family made a comment like, you shouldn't be putting this information down, this is discussions that you should be having with your physicians, and I wholeheartedly agree and support with that. But one thing that I thought was so important, and I did mention this, is that at least now families have options that they can go back and review on their own, right? So now you have names of prescriptions that other families are using, other families are having success with. So you're going to take this information. If you've tried all these other possibilities, all these other options, nothing else is working, yes, maybe it's time for having a discussion now with your child's doctor. But with that, now you can research and explore on your own. You can take a look at what the names of these medicines, and at least bring it forth into a conversation. So, and this is what we're all about here at This Uncommon Journey, right? Having options to get you on a path forward, so you're not in the dark anymore. This is really important. So let's take a closer look at what some families success with, and something that you might want to consider for your own child as well. So hydroxyzine is an antihistamine. It's kind of a next level Benadryl, so to speak. It's a prescription-based Benadryl, basically. It's similar to, as I mentioned, Benadryl and Zyrtec, but it's not over the counter. You need to get it through a doctor prescription at a pharmacy. And it's also used to control anxiety and stress as well. And it has had good success for children that have had sleep disorders. So I will tell you, my Joe has had asthma for years, and he also had severe eczema as well. So all of that was wrapped up in a lot of discomfort, which really impacted his sleep. So he was on hydroxyzine for a number of years. But again, I found, and that helped with some of his itching, some of his discomfort, even some of the asthma and allergies and everything as well. But the melatonin was really the game changer for us. So another prescription medicine that was mentioned on the message boards was, and just bear with me because I don't know if I'm going to be pronouncing all these exactly right, but Clonidine is another one. So that's my JoJo. Joe's home with me this weekend, so we're looking forward to some fun times this weekend. So Clonidine is another one that was mentioned by a number of families, and it's used to treat not only high blood pressure but also ADHD as well. And other studies have shown that it's helpful for aggressive behavior. So a lot of that obviously is tied into restlessness, sleep issues, things like that. So it has been shown to be effective with sleep disorders as well. The next one we're going to talk about is Zolapron, and that is specifically as a prescription medicine used to treat insomnia. So it's a little bit more of a higher level drug. So again, you want to be speaking with your child's physician about, and if that would be benefit as well. Risperidone is another option that families have mentioned, and it's one of those medications that is also used for children that are really display mood disorders, high aggressive tendencies, and this medicine helps to rebalance all the dopamine in the body, the serotonin, things like that, and it does cause children, adults to become sleepy. So the watch out from parents again is to consider that over time it can build up. And in these level of medicines, number of these that we're talking about, it's kind of a slow build in terms of dosing. Usually the neurologist or the doctor will start out with lower levels of dosing and then continue to build up to see where they're at. On the flip side of that, if it's going to be if your child's going to be taken off the drug, there's going to be a taper down as well. Joe was on Risperidone for a while. It seemed to work with some of his moodiness and some of the more aggressive tendencies, and behavior issues that he was struggling with, but after a while it did have less of an effect, and then we were seeing almost an opposite effect in terms of his behavior, so we did take him off that as well. So another one that families have mentioned is trazodone. So this is used to treat depression, and it increases the amount of serotonin in the brain. Again, that's that calming, feel-good chemical transmitter that works throughout our systems, and it helps to improve and maintain a mental balance. So that level of calmness and overall well-being obviously is going to be helpful for sleep. So lower doses of this can help individuals not only fall asleep but also stay asleep if your child is in a sleep but constant wake-up cycle. So gabapentone is another one that families have recommended. This one is used to treat seizures and also abnormal activity in the brain, and as well certain other nerve conditions, things like shingles and that kind of discomfort. But it has been found to help treat insomnia as well. Again, these are a little bit more advanced medicines and drugs, so depending upon your child's age and other conditions that are involved, this is where real good conversation needs to be had with your doctors, and also a consideration of a slow start, possible for build-up to try it out. So that's it. Those are our top solutions that other families just like yours have recommended for any kind of sleep issues that their children might be having. So these are good options for you to explore, to research further, to talk to your doctors about, to talk to family and friends about, and to try. So here's hoping that a restful and good night's sleep is in your and your child's future. If you like this video, please click on the like button below. Please put some comments down if you have other options that you've used and that you've had success with, so we can spread the word and share more information with our families. We're really building a community here. We want to make sure that all families, just like yours, just like mine, have easy access to really good information, so not only so we can make great decisions for our kids, but we can really be confident in how we're operating as a special needs parent every day. So it's really a very special space. We don't have all the tools and resources that typical families have, so we're really trying to build a community where families just like yours, just like mine, have easy access. So click on the subscribe button below. We're really going to be offering a number of other great videos going forward, so please make sure anything that comes out that you'll have access to right away. And thanks for sharing. We'll see you next time. Take care.